Okay, so I need to do something with these preforms that I have in the Abo videos. So what I'll do is I'll work on this one first, and I'll put some notches in it, clean it up, make the edge a little bit better, and call it good. And then I'll do the same thing with this one here. I got some areas that need to be thinned down some more. So I'll do that with punch work, but right now I'm going to be doing some pressure work, some punch work on this to get it notched and finished. Okay, I'm just trying to figure out where I should start. Alright, let's see. Just going to try a small or a thin pressure flaker first and see what it does. I heard two snaps on that one, that's why I kind of checked it. I thought maybe the pressure flaker had snapped. But it removed two flakes at the same time, I think. Okay, I don't want to do too much tip work at this stage and make it too delicate, because it snaps off pretty easy. Okay, so let's see. I think I had already abraded a little bit on this. You see, that was a series of hammerstone flakes there. And hammerstone is pretty good for working on the edges so you don't snap the whole thing. It doesn't grab quite as much as antler. Of course, it doesn't really have the range of antler either, but those travel pretty good. Alright, so I want to get it thinned down some more, at least a little bit. The ratio was 5 to 1, between 4 and 1 to 5 to 1, I think, in the last video. It doesn't need to be much thinner to be accurate, but it makes it a lot easier to notch if it is thin at the base. So I'm just going to turn the edge for some percussion flaking in a minute. I'm using a pretty thick pressure flaker because I don't want to snap a tip off the pressure flaker. As I am pushing pretty hard. Okay. It feels pretty good on the pressure flaker. So that's a plus when you're doing notches. You need to be able to have a stone that'll cooperate, of course. This one seems to be doing pretty well. It's, you know, I think I mentioned it earlier that it's a little harder than I expected. It doesn't nap as easily as a lot of the other heat-treated material that I've got. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, I'll do some percussion on here and see if I can get this thinned down for the notching. Really need to get a good flake through here somehow. I'm afraid to use the hammer stone because I'll need to drive a lot of power into there, and then if it's hard to hold, it just stalls out and you get a short hingy type flake, so I don't want to do that. I want to give myself some room here for several attempts at this. I need to be aggressive. If I remember, I need to be kind of aggressive with this stone and hit really hard. Okay. Camera's catching onto my shirt there. That's what I get for trying a slightly different technique by going too high on that and trying to catch too much of that edge. Okay, so I'll repair that later. That's a big mistake there. Shouldn't have changed the technique. Yeah, at this point I can't afford to have those kinds of mistakes. So I've got to make sure the platforms are strong enough, but do not be aggressive as far as putting the tool too high up onto the edge. I've got to try to stay very low, but very aggressive in that respect, as far as force driving in. Because if I go too high on this, it's not going to peel off a flake like I want. The antler just absorbs way too much shock. It doesn't allow me to really grip and power off the flakes. So I've got to be low and as aggressive as possible, pushing the limits, the absolute limits on this strength here, because when I do that low striking as low as possible, it usually peels off part of the flaker. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to send flakes far enough across to take off that step, and there you go. It did go far enough, but it overshot. Now usually when I put these together or back together, I can usually figure out the cause of these types of tip snaps, and it's usually when I hit an edge way too hard. There's some incipient cracks in one of the cones, and I can't remember when. Let's see. The last strike I did, I'm not sure. Anyway, it's probably because of an incipient crack on the edge, and I was being very aggressive. Alright, so I mean, that solves that problem. Now I don't need to worry about maintaining the tip because it's gone. So, but anyway, I'll fix this here just quickly. Just put another tip on it. Stone is not my friend today. It's acting kind of weird. Okay. Alright, so I'm not going to worry too much about this one. Put in some simple notches. Yeah, it's acting like it wants to dive in. You know, these flakes are acting like they want to dive in. Okay. Alrighty, let's see. I'm just gonna try some simple notches. Let's see. This is just what I call a vertical driver, vertical pressure flaker. Blew off some of that ear there, which is a bummer. Again, the stone is not my friend today. I probably need to make that more narrow, but if I do, chances are this thing will split and part of this will flake off in this direction. So I've got to play that little balancing act between being too thick and being just barely strong enough. So I'm really driving in these flakes really hard. Because my cross section is still pretty thick. A lot thicker than I would like. Again, I think I blew off some of that ear for the second time. Bummer. The antler seems to be holding up pretty good. Okay, so I'm not gonna force that side too much more. Maybe a little bit, but I think it's pretty much stalled now. Yeah, okay. It looks good enough. I'll just pressure flake the rest of it. This held up okay, but as you can see, it started out kind of flat, but I really wore down the tip there. Okay, and so something like this it's good for about 10 points of this type, where the notches are pretty deep on pretty thick material, relatively speaking. So you need a lot of antler. If you're going to do like 100 points a month or so, which is not unusual, especially if you do a lot of hunting full time and you're supplying more than just yourself. Let's see. Talking about the old guys anyway. These days we don't do nearly as much hunting, of course. I don't know how successful I am in doing a good job for you guys on this one. Maybe I'm trying to rush it because I've got to be somewhere. Let's see. Doing a lot of expedient things on this so I can just get it knocked out. But that edge is kind of thin now. All I want to do is get rid of the thick spots and thin down the edge and straighten it a little bit and call it good. If I take away too much width, it starts to look a lot thicker. I lose that nice thin look. Kind of asymmetrical. I know they were asymmetrical in the past too, but I'm just going to fix that a little bit. And the reason why I'm using such a fat pressure flaker is because I think they used these in the past because the flakes are pretty bold on a lot of these. I don't know for this particular type exactly, but on a lot of these archaic pieces the flaking is really bold. So you know, you have to use something fat, thick and bulky to get those bold flakes. In my experience, I don't know, I could be wrong there. Yeah, I could be preparing this edge better too. Alright, I'm going to try to blow through that with some punch work and then call it good. Can't find my abrader. Let's see. I picked up some new sandstone the other day. Let's try this. Maybe I should use this since I was doing okay with it earlier. I don't know. I think I might have messed it up just then. Let's see. Messed up that platform. Yeah, it's easier just to blow through it with some indirect percussion. Try to anyway. Yeah. I lost some of that edge. Alright, I do need to work on my pressure flaking style, but not today. I need an intermediate flaker, something in between those that I've been using. Let's see. Guess this is okay. I'm afraid of putting in way too much pressure and snapping this thing. It does okay as long as it steps. As long as you allow it to step fracture, it'll flake. But if you try to get it to not cause a step fracture, it does not cooperate. Isn't that always the way? See, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to preserve the edge, and then, oh gosh, I don't know, I'm getting frustrated. As you can see, that there's a stack forming there, and I can see where this is going, and I hate losing the tip. Normally the tips don't give me this much trouble, but for some reason I hope it was in focus there too. I think one of the problems is that last night I was doing some copper work, and I take it for granted that copper can blow through anything, and then I come back to antler, and you have to be very particular with it. It does not like to be forced to do anything. As you can see, I don't know. Let's see. Alright, I'm going to call it good, because I'm getting I'm reaching the limits on my patience with this one, and I really don't want to push the issue too much, because it will snap. I will snap this point, snap the tip off. So I'll just leave it as is. How's that? Yeah, I don't care. All right. Good enough. I'm just going to call it a resharpened, or you know, something broken that the napper tried to fix. I hit some large game animal and had to repair it after a successful hunt. How's that? Alright, anyway, I don't know what I'd call that. The base looks like a lost lake to me, or something. Hopefully I'll do better on the next one. This one, let's see, I don't know. I don't want to wait forever to do it, but I don't feel like doing it today. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to do some more abo videos because the copper really, I think the copper really kind of got me in a different mindset. So anyway, I hope you guys liked it. That's the end of this point. I'm not going to do much else with it. Maybe I'll haft it, but I doubt it. I think it's messed up at the tip here. Let's see. Oops. So the width on this thing is 1 inch and I don't know, 3/8, a little bit over 1 inch and 3/8, and the thickness. Let's see. The thickest part is at the base here. And with these, I don't know how Lost Lake looks like on in cross section. Excuse me. It's very close to 1/4 inch in thickness, right here, right in between the notches. It's yeah, right at 1/4 inch. So 1 inch and 3/8 by 1/4 inch. By just under 2 inches. Okay, that's it.